exactly on time.
Are you on?
Yeah, it says green. I'd like to invite you to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next item is approval of minutes. This is from the governing board meeting on December 10th, 2024 as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have Mr. Buster and Mr. King, seconds. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. We'll move on to general functions. Our first item is staff, student, and community recognitions. Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Pratt and members of the board. We have with us Mrs. Aubrey Wilkes with her Empire High School choir. So Mrs. Wilkes, the floor is yours.
Hi, we are members of Empire Ensemble and we will be singing Fana Canzona by Orazio Vezzi.
Canzone senza montagna, senza montagna, senza si voglio raccogliere.
Dolcemente facendo la finire.
Non mi sfogere durezze. Non mi sono vezzi. Mi sono vezzi. Ritorno vita a dormire. Dolcemente facendo la finire.
Oh. Thank you guys so much. Can we have some certificates for you and then are we going to get a picture?
Yep.
Can we get a picture with you guys?
Will we face?
Okay. We're going to have to.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Blended in.
Okay. Students, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for coming and sharing your talents with us tonight. That was truly beautiful. It really was special. So thank you for doing that. And parents and family members, thank you for bringing them or supporting them. And some of them probably drove themselves and came along.
They walked.
She walked and then they walked.
Right down there.
Anyways, thank you for sharing with us this evening. It's a great way to start it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We have a few other staff, student, and community recognitions this evening. First up is Miss Debbie Penn, followed by Miss Kate Robold. Oh, and Ms. Penn, you can motor that forward. I think we got pushed back a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
Good evening, President Pratt, Mr. Ruth, and members of the board. I wanted to just take a moment to share with you that we have upcoming on January 29th, the district-wide half-day in-service day. We have been busy preparing for this. On Friday, we held a training for all of our, it was a train the trainer for all of our presenters and our room facilitators. The idea is that each grade level, elementary, middle, and high school will have some of our staff do a presentation, and then they'll break into grade level working groups by content area at the middle school and high school, and they'll apply the material that was talked about during the presentation to lesson plan activities so that they'll have the opportunity to collaborate with other peers, their peers across the district. The topic that we're looking at is a continuation of the engagement that we started with at the beginning of the year for our January, or excuse me, our August half day. So this is a continuation of that work, taking another look at engagement and the components specifically of the cognitive investment, and that's looking like being connected directly to the standards and at high levels of limbs and depth of knowledge. And so I wanted to take just a minute to let you know that that is upcoming, but to also recognize those people who are already very busy working on the materials and preparing to train and to facilitate, and have already participated in a day's training at the district office. So first, I'd like to recognize Megan Nolan, Kelly Pinkerton, Mary Garcia, and Chris and Alban for their help in writing and pulling together all of the materials and the resources for the presentation. And then those who are presenting or facilitating in groups are, again, Megan Nolan, Ken Graff, Michelle Pengel, Krista Fields, Lori Spees, Faith Alva, Chris Witosh, Katie Swoger, Kathy King, Rita Boyd, Faith Alva, Libby Hayes, Erin Rebeck, Stacy Cousins, Andrea Violencia, Brianna Torres, Brianna Brace, Mary Garcia, Christina Alban, Mary Ann Steer, Mindy Hughes, Angela Bustamante, Kara Evans, Jeff Parks, Rod Carrier, Becky Johnson, Kim Middleton, Tara Dezo, Brittany Matsushino, Cynthia Dansel, Katie Hoff, Kathleen Greenwood, Christy Spencer, Justin Laneson, Brianna Smith, Linda Pilling, Aiden Hubert, Rob May, Carla Wright, Daniel Mosseri, Jack Erickson, Gianna Wages, Tiffany Newton, Desi Rejos, and Nancy Weber-Graff. So it's an extensive list. Thank you for giving me the time. I wanted to mention everyone's name. I'm sure these are people who come across in multiple activities that you're connected with. They're people who have taken direct interest in instructional team lead and leading instructionally at their site. So we appreciate them so very much and wanted you to know what they're up to.
Thank you. Mrs. Robo, followed by Mrs. Bates.
Good evening, President Pratt, Mr. Kruth, and members of the board. I'd like to start by recognizing Barbara Hempel. She is our transportation router. She has really been a support to Saguaro Creek through our attendance boundary conversations and our transportation routes as we get our new school up and running. She is incredibly responsive. She is knowledgeable. She is service-oriented, a yes person, and just a really valuable asset to our Vail team. And I just wanted her to know that her work and dedication has not gone unnoticed. I'd also like to recognize Samantha DeMeff. She's ORE's new principal. For her leadership and support over the last 3 years as my assistant to the principal. I've also watched her be a 5th grade teacher, a 3rd grade teacher, an advanced math teacher, and she's just a gem. She took on every task as my assistant to the principal, every duty, every responsibility, every ask, even some of them were hard and challenging, with a can-do attitude. She leads by example. She cares deeply for ORE, and I'm really looking forward to watching ORE grow under her leadership. She's a rock star. And then I'd like to recognize Team ORE. They're just an incredible group of people. They have amazing professionalism. They are dedicated to their students and families. They work exceptionally well together. They support each other, and they're constantly pursuing excellence. Words cannot express how grateful I am to have worked at ORE for 8 years. And I just want to let the staff know I'm so grateful for them and that they are making a profound difference every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Romo. Mrs. Bates?
Good evening, President Pratt, Superintendent Kruth, and members of the board. I'm here to recognize community programs teams from Esmond Station, Sycamore, and from Mesquite. These recognitions will complete the last of our Quality First assessments for 2024. Each school has its own unique story and path to success, and I'd like to share an abbreviated version of their stories for their recognitions. I'd also like to recognize that a couple of our site leaders are here. Marcia is here, and then Erica Davis is here as well, and members of the Mesquite staff have joined us. Laura Petrangeli, the site director at Esmond Station, unfortunately has a cold, and she is devastated that she's not here right now. I'm sure she'll watch online. So first up is Esmond Station's recognition. Esmond Station Preschool started literally on a napkin 1 year ago today. Our site director, Laura, and our instructional leader, Debbie, within 2 weeks of me starting in my new role, said, we have to have a preschool at Esmond Station. We've wanted one for a really long time. Can you please, let's please just do this. We've got to do this. And to be honest with you, being the new kid on the block, I was like, sure, I don't know what I'm saying yes to quite yet, but maybe we'll consider this. And quite honestly, we really hadn't had a ton of interest. We had maybe a phone call trickle in here or there. And so we really weren't sure that this was going to be something that we could absolutely bank on. But we said yes to the crazy idea, and they got to work ordering things like furniture and supplies and materials and began recruiting kids and families. We started humbly this year in July with 3 kids in the Esmond Station preschool program, furthering the confirmation that it was quite the crazy idea. By October, though, we have grown that class to be full. It is fully enrolled. And so we decided throughout July and October, hey, things are going well for us. Why don't we just apply for Quality First, which, as I've shared with you in previous recognitions, that it's quite the rigorous process. So throughout that time, we were readying ourselves, establishing the program and readying ourselves for Quality First assessment. Quality First came in and has recognized this brand new napkin-based program at Esmond Station as a 5-star highest quality rated program right out of the gate. So we are just incredibly proud of Esmond Station, really proud for their vision and their hard work and their determination. They knew that they had a diamond there, and they absolutely just have made it shine. So I'm so proud of them. Next up, I want to recognize Mesquite. Under the leadership of Marcia. Marcia has been serving as a site director at Mesquite for several years and has established an outstanding staff with high quality culture and a great reputation. It is absolutely outstanding to see our youngest learners soaking up our Chinese immersion program and our preschool immersion program there at Mesquite. Marcia and her staff are determined to increase their Quality First rating. They were previously rated a 3-star. And they have been diligently looking at feedback and accepting coaching from Quality First coaches to improve their score. And I'm proud of them. They have increased their score to a 4-star rating. So congratulations to our Mesquite team. Way to go. And lastly, I'd like to recognize Sycamore. Sycamore Community Programs has been under the leadership of Erica Davis for 3 years. When Erica first started at Sycamore, it had just actually earned a 2-star rating from Quality First. Erica was new to her role, new to a leadership position completely, and has taken on a program by Quality First standards that really needed some improvement and additional coaching. Erica has worked tirelessly to improve the environments both inside and out. I have been witness to her blood, sweat, and tears and gardening projects and weekend things that she has poured herself into. It's been incredible to see her. I'm proud of Erica and her growth as a leader. Her leadership and guidance has trickled its way down to the outstanding staff that she has created there. Sycamore has earned a 4-star rating from Quality First, which is a massive improvement from the 2-star that they had previously earned. So recognize that. Sycamore has a complexity of Quality First that not all of our sites have, which is they offer a toddler program. If we were to look at the scores just on the preschool rating, Sycamore would actually be a 5-star. And so not that our toddler program brings us down or anything like that. There's just a lot of complexities to offering toddler program through Quality First. And so the average of those scores brings us to a 4-star. So there's really, really outstanding things happening in all of our programs at Sycamore, but they're pretty darn close. The first thing out of Erica's mouth, when I told her that we were super close, we were looking at the score, she said, yeah, well, next time. So, I fully believe that just because I've just seen her hard work and dedication and growth over the last year that I've been able to lead her. I am so incredibly proud of the great work that's happening in community programs each day. Earning these incredible star ratings is just cherry on the top. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Bates. And we have one more special announcement from Mrs. Wells to do a recap on the Angel Tree giving process right before the holidays. Mrs. Wells.
Hi, good evening, President Tippett, members of the board, and Superintendent Caruth. So I'm going to do a little bit more and call it our holiday support program. So I want to share with you what we were doing through the month of December. And these are all programs that were offered district-wide. So it touched all of our schools, including VIP and community programs. Okay. And were offered through our student service coordinators. So we start with our collaboration with Resources Food Bank. I just wanted to give a shout out to them with how amazing they are helping our families connect to holiday supports, whether that be through the Thanksgiving food basket, the Christmas food basket, or just general weekly donations. So that collaboration has been key in getting our families food that they desperately need. So we also worked with Andrea Looney and the Realty Executives. They were able to provide 100 holiday meal supports to our families throughout the schools. The Legion and Corona provided us with 25 bikes. Let me go through the list. We had 25 flannel blankets that were handmade by Carol Teese and her quilting partners. The sweetest, most loved blankets you could ever imagine. Vale Christian Church did a drive for pajamas and blankets that filled my car as well as their cargo van to get it over to the district office. We had the Heat Optimist Club do a shopping spree with 12 of our children, elementary age children, where they got to shop for clothes within a budget, but then they also got to meet Santa and have hot chocolate and a special treat from Santa Claus. We had the Rincon Fire Department helping our families. They adopted 2 large families, but then also contracted out some others of their services. We had the Corona Fire Department do 6 families. But as well, did a massive toy drive. And when I say massive, it filled my vehicle several times, plus Amanda Cook, my partner in crime's truck several times, and then we had them come out several times. So those helped us fill in the gaps just for extra donations. We had Red Sleigh in the district this year that targeted 11 large families at Willow. And then we get to which are supports that are desperately needed for our families. And we can call them holiday supports, but I call them needs supports, because when we ask for a donation for any sort of holiday, we're looking at meeting the needs first of what any child is asking for. We were able to provide these holiday supports to 779 students. That's over 25 of the sites. And with that, we had 17 community partners that helped, like Living Branch, who adopted 100 students, and Pantana Christian, who took 55. We also had 75 plus community members and district staff that helped. And those were just the donors that I coordinated. I don't even have the numbers for the site donations that they were able to help with. So I'm truly blessed to be able to work with all of these partners that help our families meet their needs, not only at Christmas time and our holiday time, but also throughout the year. So it's just a small example of what the good things that our community partners are doing. So thank you.
It's great stuff. Thank you, Mrs. Wells. I have a couple other district-wide recognitions. The Cienega High School Copper Thunder Marching Band recently received, for the 2nd year in a row, a resounding majority of postseason votes in the Arizona Marching Arts Fan Awards, and has won a 7.5 out of 9 categories. The awards include Show of the Year, Wins of the Year, Percussion of the Year, Show Design of the Year. They tied with Gilbert High School in Phoenix. Prop Design of the Year, Comeback Band of the Year, Uniform Design of the Year, and Guard Uniform of the Year. That is impressive. And just literally late yesterday evening, might have been late afternoon, evening, we learned that Micah Mountain High School science teacher, Miss Sandra Cruza, was selected for the White House, by the White House, for a Presidential Award of Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching from Arizona in the Science Award category. It is literally an award that Mrs. Cruza and Mrs. Whitwer and some others have been working on for 5 years. And she will be awarded $10,000, right? It's just a tremendous honor. So good stuff. Great things happening across the district. That's all we have for staff, student, and community recognitions this evening.
Thank you. That was quite amazing. Lots of good stuff happening in the district. We're going to move on to the call to the public. This is for items not on tonight's agenda. I do have one request to speak. This is from Michael Pinheiro. So close. Sorry. So as you're coming up, I'll just read the directions. Those wishing to address the governing board on items not on tonight's agenda may do so at this time. Speakers are requested to hold their comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, my name is Michael Pinheiro. I'm with the Office of Congressman Juan Ciscomani's office. Said that twice. Congressman Ciscomani asked that I attend tonight's meeting on behalf of himself to present certificates of congressional recognition to the Vail Unified School District Governing Board. Excuse me. He understands that the board members, it's not an easy task, and you all hold a lot of responsibility for our community. So the certificate reads as follows. And again, this is presented to each of the board members, of course. The certificate reads and it follows: in recognition of your willingness to serve our community, your dedication to public education, and your commitment to the students, families, and staff of the Vail Unified School District. Thank you so much for your time. Again, my name is Michael, with Congressman Ciscomani's office.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. I don't have any acknowledgements of public requests to speak for items on tonight's agenda. Are there any others wishing? Oh, could we get a quick picture with you? Is that okay? Thank you.
I had him in the correct order at first.
Sorry, and then we moved everybody.
Correct.
We shuffled.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yours. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank
Of course. Absolutely. Appreciate it. Of course.
Are we opening it or?
Yeah.
Opening?
That.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Okay, if there are no other requests to speak at this time, we'll move on to our correspondence and reports. The first item is the superintendent's report. Mr. Griff.
Thank you, President Pratt and members of the board. I have a couple of items I want to touch on the superintendent's report. First is the spelling bee is this Friday, just letting you know that that's happening for our 3rd through 8th grade students to determine who will move on to the county bee. It's an exciting event held at the Vail Theater of the Arts. And as Mr. Hurley, kids put a tremendous amount of work and effort into it, but as Mr. Hurley so aptly described, it's the only event we do in Vail that is guaranteed to make a kid cry. So. And see how that goes. But having had my own child in that, I can attest that that is a true statement. The The second item for the superintendent's report is I'm going to cede the rest of that to Mrs. Heather Stow, who will talk to us a little bit about the upcoming Vail Pride Day and some information about that.
Good evening, President Pratt, Mr. Kruth, and members of the board. Myself and my fellow co-chair, Mrs. Peggy Benson-Runyon, are here to share your official invite to Vail Pride Day 2025, which is exactly 1 month away. You should have received the invitation in front of you, the purple envelope, and you can walk through that as we're sharing the events. I spent some time today during leadership reflecting with our team on how Vail Pride Day aligns with our Vail values. And we talked a lot about where education is a community effort and how that ties perfectly into there. But what truly stood out to me today is a comment that Chris Widosh, the amazing principal of Sonita Valley Elementary, made. He said, showing up at Vail Pride Day completely changed the day that his kindergartner walked onto the fairgrounds with him. And he pulled him over to the art displays, and as proud could be, showed him his artwork. And he said that is where it changed for him when he became a parent and got to bring his kids to the event. It made me a little nostalgic, and I went through my photos today and I found the picture of my son in kindergarten at Vail Pride Day, and it just brought me so much joy too. But I think where that really intersects is that Vail Pride Day really represents the values of our community. That our parents can come and be so proud of their kids, and those neighbors can be so proud of our children as well. And so just honored to be a part of that and help to carry on that legacy in our 26th year of the event. Another thing to point out is that just a true testament to the community rallying around the event is the fact that $95,000 was raised in sponsorships for the event. Our costs have just gone up with the fairgrounds and production company, and that is in huge part to Mrs. Benson-Runyon and Mr. Mark Tate and their connections with the community and just the value that they see in the event. So we're just honored by that. I'm gonna turn it over to Mrs. Benson-Runyon, who's going to walk through a few of the events, and then you'll hear from me a little bit later.
Good evening, President Pratt, members of the board, and Superintendent Kruth. This year's Vail Pride Day starts with the Vail Pride Day Fun Run, kicking off this Saturday, January 18th, 10 a.m. at Andrada High School as part of their Map Fest. Registration is underway with lots of excited runners already signed up. Skechers will be donating a pair of shoes for the winners in each category. And Aramark is supplying water and snacks to keep everyone hydrated and well fed. Rod Carrier, assistant principal of Andrada, will be emceeing the event, and he already has his script ready to go. It should be lots of fun. Next up is Vail Pride Day's Volunteer Luncheon, which takes place on Thursday, February 13th at noon in Thurber Hall at the Pima County Fairgrounds. Lots of fun activities are planned for arrival, and this event this year will be catered by Texas Roadhouse, and crumble cookies is the dessert. Our volunteer coordinators have been working hard to showcase their volunteers and the incredible impact they make in our district. This is a day we get to celebrate them.
And moving on to Friday, the staff luncheon. We're super excited about some of the pre-festivity activities we have. Sarah Bates in her new role has joined our executive team, and she's really been leading the charge along with Tiffany Perry from Sonita Valley on these. The first thing is the Vail School District acronym quiz. We have a bazillion acronyms in the Vail School District, and so we're going to really test the staff's knowledge on that, and we'll be giving awards and a little trophy to the acronym king or queen in the district. You can rattle them all off. We'll also be doing a spirit competition this year. So each school is asked to have a spirit squad, and it'll be no more than about 20 people, and there'll be judges. So if any of you are interested in being a judge, we'd love to have you. And so the categories will be most creative, most outrageous, most entertaining, on brand to site. Mr. Kruth has a prediction that Micah might take that one. And then best theme aligned to power of community. And our new Starbucks on Marion Cleveland, or Marion Cleveland and Colossal Cape They are donating 120 gift bags for our staff as prizes for that. So we have that 12:30 to 2 time range, and so we're hoping just to fill that with all sorts of fun for our staff. We're also bringing back the phone booth. It's been residing in Sycamore's library for the last year as a reading nook. And so we're bringing it back for round 2 to bring those special moments for our staff. And so we're gathering that information to be able to provide those gifts. And those gifts this year will be sponsored by Living Branch Church. And then we get into the award ceremony portion of Friday. And so lunch will be from 12:30 to 2. Jason's Deli will still be catering, and the award ceremony will look very much like it did last year. We'll have our production company. We're super excited about that. We're also doing a series of videos based on the power of community to really show that reciprocity between our school's investment in community and community's investment in school. So we're excited about showcasing that as well. And then we get into Saturday, our big community day, where 15,000 people flood the fairgrounds to celebrate our students. And your main role in that will be in the parade. We're hoping that you can walk in the parade with us. We're very excited about the parade. We have a large showing of high school entrances this year. We have Andrada, who built their car, and so they'll be showcasing that with Mr. Nelson driving it and all of their students around it. We also have Micah Mountain's entire football team to celebrate their state championship. They'll be in the parade. So we have from our tiny preschoolers to our auto kids and our football kids all in this parade. I'm just super excited to see it happen. So we hope that you can join that. The rest of the days is yours to enjoy. We'll have Academic Jeopardy, Math Bowl, fundraising. Of course, we'll have kettle corn. And we're just super excited for the 3 days to be able to celebrate our students and allow our community to come in and wrap their arms around our students and all of their achievements. So thank you for supporting it. Mrs. Peterson will be taking your RSVPs for your speaking roles, for who would like to give the board community award, all of those pieces. So we look forward to seeing you at the fairgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stout. A little extra long superintendent's report, but that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I am relieved to see on the Fun Run Day that there's no specific board duties required. I was wondering if we were required to run in the race. I was gonna need a little bit more lead time on that, but we'll be okay. Thank you. Our next item is board reports. Do any board members wish to share a report at this time? Mr. Bester?
A little bit of trepidation because I think the board fully realizes we've been very busy over the last month. So it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. So on December 12th, Allison, Jen, John, and I conducted a joy drop at Pantano High School. The principals, teachers, staff, and students expressed their heartfelt appreciation for our support. And of course, as always, I have to give special thanks to Cindy Peterson, our executive assistant, for expertly managing the logistics and making the event a great success. December 16th. So we all joined in at Empire High School. Well, on this particular piece, Chris King, Darcy Mentone, and Kendra and I completed the final piece of the district's holiday message. And despite my busy schedule, the team put in the extra hours to accommodate me, and I really appreciate it. Darcy's creativity, Kendra's storytelling abilities were outstanding. And special thanks to our own Santa Claus, Chris King, for playing Santa Claus and tying the entire presentation together so beautifully. Again on the 16th, we joined the celebration of Pantano High School's graduation. The students' drive and determination were just really awe-inspiring. I was honored to confer the graduates alongside Mr. Walcombe, their dedicated principal, and his compassionate staff. Again on the 16th. During the halftime at the Empire High School basketball game, your board, along with John Caruth and Kevin Carney, attended the championship ring ceremony, honoring Coach Shannon Woldridge and his team, who won their third straight softball championship, state championship. The student athletes were thrilled by the presentation of their championship rings. Sharing in these proud moments was really a privilege. On the 19th, I had the great fortune to present alongside our own Rita Boyd, our Ed Tech coordinator at the Arizona School Board Association Annual Conference. Our presentation was on responsible tech for tomorrow, and it received high praise. Rita's expertise in AI, machine learning, and cyber resilience provided valuable insights to school members, school board members, superintendents throughout Arizona. Again on the 19th. At the Arizona School Board Association Annual Conference during the Delegate Assembly, I served Vail Unified School Districts as Vail Unified School Districts delegate. I had the opportunity to cast our vote for the new ASBA board members. Congratulations to Mitra Kazi, Wendy Effing, and Armando Montero on their new ASB board positions. I want to thank Chris King as well as Callie in regards to their mentorship over a couple of years, kind of show me the ropes and enabling me to represent the district and represent the district well. On the 20th of December, during the ASB conference, at the ASB Black Alliance meeting, I worked with Dr. Jimmy Hart of Hart Industries to record his presentation on Arizona's Untold Past. This video will be shared with total Arizona schools during Black History Month, offering valuable historical perspectives. Huge thanks to Dr. Hart, as his contributions are immeasurably appreciated now and long into the future. On January 10th, I joined with Jen and the Pratt family for Allison's swearing in ceremony at her son's social studies class. Allison's commitment to serving on our school board for the next 4 years is so enormously commendable. So thank you, Allison, for being a phenomenal community leader and mentor. Last but certainly not least, today, earlier this evening, I had the secular honor of swearing in Mr. Chris King into his second term as Vail Unified School District Governing Board member. Chris is not only a friend and a colleague, but has served with dignity and respect. As he achieves his second master's degree, he remains a person of integrity and a lifelong learner. Chris's passion for education and in serving others continues to inspire positive changes at the county and at the state levels, with many organizations and facets in which he serves. Thank you, Chris, for your service. Best wishes for the next 4 years, and I look forward to serving with you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Bester. Appreciate your kind words. Any other board reports? Ms. Tippett.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment following up on one of the reports that was given regarding the amazing generosity of our community over the holiday season. I just want to say a big thank you to the community for wrapping around kids and families that need a little bit of extra support and meeting needs and feeling loved during the holiday season. It can make all the difference. And I was blown away at the long list and extensive involvement of so many members of the community, groups, organizations. We're just so grateful for each and every one of you who plugged in to be part of that effort. And I also want to thank Cienega High School Principal Middleton and weight training coach, Coach Swain, for allowing me to have my swearing in ceremony there in the weight room of Cienega. It's an important class for me and for my family. And I just, it was one of the most meaningful places that I could think of for that ceremony. And I have my 2 sons by my side and my husband there with me. And a class full of some kids that I've watched take their journey into athletics from being 5 years old and up. and watching them be grown men now, with many inches taller than me. So that was really enjoyable, and I thank them for that opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Tippett. Any other board reports? Yes.
I was still in the process of writing it, but yeah.
Do you have one or no?
That's all right.
Okay.
So as Mr. Buster was saying, we've had a fairly long break since our last board meeting, so I won't break it down that far like Ed did. But I did attend the ASBA annual conference in Scottsdale, where we attended various training sessions, breakouts to become more educated board members. Also attended the Micah Mountain Jingle Bell 5K, where I got the opportunity to play Santa Claus and get pictures with a bunch of the kids out there, handed out candy canes and everything else. And I also got to witness again our amazing transportation department with Jerry Brown and some of his staff out there collecting toys for the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. And it's an amazing to see that we don't just give back to our community locally, but we expand it out to the rest of the county. So, and having that national program that we actually get involved with. Also attended the Pantano High School graduation, and this past weekend, I had the opportunity to attend the Board of Directors annual retreat, which I will say this year was a lot better than last year. And our board meeting was only 45 minutes. So that was actually fairly quick. And I want to wrap this up with thanking Ed tonight for presiding over my swearing in. I also want to thank my wife, fellow board members, Cindy, Superintendent Cruz for attending. Ed, over the last 4 years, your friendship and reciprocal mentorship has been invaluable. And I appreciate all you do for our community, for the district, and all you've done for the country. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. I have a really quick board report. I want to recognize Ms. Tippett as serving as the last president this last year. We appreciate everything you've done for us this year, just keeping us in line and making sure things are organized and running the meetings. So thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to recognize Mr. Buster, along with Ms. Boyd. I attended the Ed Tech class at the ASBA conference, and it was one of the best classes I've attended. Great job. Very well presented. Thank you. And then this week I had, or last week, I attended a reality check lunch with Mr. Kruth, with staff from Savano, Vic, and Pantano. And it was a wonderful, wonderful lunch to be able to get to know some really great staff who would do really wonderful things for kids. I love those opportunities. I also wanted to recognize, I think we have a Boy Scout maybe in the last row. I have boys who participated in Boy Scouts as well, so I love seeing kids be able to come and participate in our meetings. So thank you for being here. If there's no other board reports, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Just pulling up. All items listed below are consent matters and will be considered by one motion at this time. There will be no discussion of consent items. Any board member may remove an item from the consent agenda by request. Are there any board members who wish to pull an item? All items not accepted and approved as part of the consent agenda will be considered individually. Mr. Kruth?
Thank you, President Pratt and members of the board. It's recommended that the Vail School District Governing Board approve all items on the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you,
I'll
Mr.
second.
King. And Mrs. Tippett. I'll call for their vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. We'll move on to new business. Our first item is the 2026-27 school calendars. This is a study item, Mr. Kruth.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. It's that time of year where we just got through the holidays, but we are casting ahead and looking not at next year, but the year after that and what the calendars will be. Mrs. Peterson and several others, administrative staff have looked at the calendars, worked with principals on those calendars to make adjustments on start-stop times, so the beginning of the year, end of the year, all of those things where holidays fall, and have vetted that. That is what is before you, both for staff calendars as well as for student calendars for K-8 and high school respectively. Those calendars are currently in the hands of principals and going to site councils for some review and vetting, but we wanted to get this in front of you as a study item. We'll bring it back as an action item, either the next board meeting or the board meeting after that, kind of depending upon the timeliness of when those calendars are able to get reviewed by site councils. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Mrs. Tippett?
I know that the young Boy Scout that is here could really benefit from us disagreeing about this. But this is probably my favorite calendar year that we have because it has such a great start time for staff and families for the school year, and a really great holiday break that works really well for some time before the holidays and some time after the holidays. So does anybody disagree with me?
I'm not seeing any disagreement. Any other comments or questions? No.
We will do our best from keeping the calendar from advancing so that doesn't, it stops right here. So
Yes.
the one thing about the calendars every year is that they keep marching forward, and but yeah, if you don't like it, wait 7 years and it'll be completely different.
Yep.
Yes. I had a very similar thought, Ms. Tippett. I looked at my first thing I looked at was December, and then the second one was when we started July. And this is also my favorite calendar. I think it works out really great. Into getting feedback and comments from site councils as well. I appreciate that. If there's no other comments or questions, this is a study item, so we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is embedded economics credit. This is an action item. Mr. Cruz?
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. I'm going to have Mr. Hurley run through the background on this. Mr. Hurley.
President Pratt, Mr. Cruz, members of the board. One of the things that the State Board of Career and Technical Education does is they determine when there is a potential for a traditional course to synchronize itself with a CTE course. However, it is up to our local governing boards to make that final approval. In our governing board policy, one of the things that's already there and available is that students can meet graduation requirements by mastering standards, not by necessarily taking a class and having a credit of those things, but by mastering standards. And so that's what we're talking about, is students have the ability to master the standards from economics while taking a CTE business course. For those of you that don't know or may be aware, if you have older kids, economics is already one of our most vibrant course offerings. There's in-person offerings, there's hybrid offerings, there's online offerings. The board decided long ago, 20-some years ago, to offer a 1 year of government. Most high schools do a semester of economics and a semester of government, and we all believe that this society of ours needed kids that knew more about our government and how government worked. So we have a full year of government, so that semester of economics has always been really flexible and creative space for us. So it was really exciting when we saw that we had some CTE teachers who were really into making this happen. So we've done this for years with agriculture. So agriculture, if you've finished the agriculture sequence, 2 of the years count for your science classes. And some of them count for the CTE class. An important thing for you to know is while it may count for an economics credit and a business credit, they don't actually get 2 credits. They kind of get a checkbox in one and credit in the other, and then they backfill and allows them to take more electives to meet their 22 credits. So that's one of the reasons that we are really excited about it. It allows kids to explore some more of those things. Went through a really rigorous process, had government or economics teachers and CTE business teachers meet and look at standards and make sure they could be covered and make sure that no kids would be learning less economics than they would by going through a traditional course. And wanted to present it to you tonight, see if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Actually, we're going to accept a motion first.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and make a recommendation that the Vail School District Governing Board approve the option of offering embedded economics credit within the CTE business courses starting in the 25-26 school year as presented.
You'll accept a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Buster? I'll second. Mrs. Anderson? Okay, now comments or questions? Mr. King?
Yeah, Mr. Hurley, thank you for bringing this forward as well. I just finished an education finance class, and CTE was actually one of the areas that I was working at. So the economics piece and seeing how this is actually coming about is actually really good to see. So thank you.
Mrs. Tippett?
Which of our schools actually have the opportunity to have this happen?
So currently right now, Micah Mountain and Vale Academy both have programs that are interested in moving forward, but at any time, any of the schools that wants to have a CTE business program could do it. Sealing in the past has had marketing sometimes and business sometimes and finance sometimes. So there's been kind of dynamic over there, but right now for sure, marketing and Vale Academy. Or sorry, Micah Mountain and Vale Academy.
Thank you. Good. Any other comments or questions? Oh, okay. If there's no other comments or questions, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is RFP 25-005-29, school furniture and installation for Saguaro Creek K-8. This is also an action item, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Pratt, and members of the board. If you've been following along on social media, you saw a really cool video that we posted about the phase of Saguaro Creek K-8 being built. All of the buildings are in place where they're going to be. All are roofed and are you can get a real concept of what the school is going to look like now from that flyover. But once the school is, those walls are up and the doors are on and those kinds of things, we've got to furnish it. And Mrs. Robold and her staff, along with our purchasing department, have been working on RFPs for furnishings and installation. The first item has to do with furnishings for the school itself, and the second is office furniture for the front office. So happy to walk through each of you can see that the RFP for school furnishing, there was 15 respondents. That was broken down, and the committee decided to, because of the size and scope of that project and the ability to get the equipment in timely to award it to 3 vendors. Mrs. Robold is here to answer any questions about what that process may look like. But why don't I just go ahead and make the recommended action, and then you can ask questions from there. It's recommended that the Vale School District Governing Board award contract RFP 25-005-29 for school furniture, including installation for Saguaro Creek K-8 to the following vendors at a multiple award for the line items mentioned for each vendor within the background: Atmosphere Commercial Interiors, Modern Space Solutions, and WIST Office as presented.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion. I'll motion. Mrs. Anderson?
Second.
Mr. King? Comments or questions? Mr. King?
The only question I had is I thought the furniture would be like coordinated with the school colors.
School what?
The school colors.
Oh, school colors.
I will defer to Mrs. Robold, but I would be shocked if there weren't some coordination, Mrs. Robold.
Pratt, members of the board. We're trying to do a neutral type of scheme so that we can use the paint colors on the wall to really bring in our school colors. Our paint colors on our wall reflect green.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to keep a neutral tone over the course of the furniture.
Very cool. All right, thank you.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Ms. Tippett.
I think this is the first time I remember an award being done this way, where it was just certain line items for different groups of things. And I hope that gives you the ability to find the things that you really need in each one of those categories. And so thanks for thinking about it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No. I had a really quick question. It looked like there is installation and delivery. Of course, I know what the delivery is. Installation, does that include like putting it together? I mean, it's everything. It's just going to show up and they're going to get it all.
Mrs. Robold?
Mr. Cruz, members of the board? Yes.
Okay. when we moved to Germany, we didn't have furniture, so we went to IKEA and bought all the furniture for our whole house. And we didn't think about the logistics of putting together all the furniture, so we had like stacks of boxes from IKEA. Anyway, so that's what I was thinking about, thinking, do you guys know, like, are we gonna all get together and help you? We would if we needed to, but I'm glad that that's included. Okay, perfect. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. Thank you. Our next item, very similar related, is RFP 25-006-29, office furniture and installation for Saguaro Creek K-8. Also an action item, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. It is very similar, simply focused on office furniture instead of school furnishings. Fewer vendors, some you'll see are duplicates from the previous. Some vendors submitted for both, as you'll see in the background. Very similar process was followed we have to follow all the legal procedures and standard processes of considering the award. Mrs. Robold and our purchasing staff went through that process and made the determination to make the award to K-12, to the vendor K-12. So I'll just go ahead and make the recommendation that the Vail School District Governing Board award contract RFP 25-006-29 for office furniture, including installation for Saguaro Creek K-8 to the vendor K-12 as a single award.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion.
We make the motion as presented.
Thank you, Mr. King.
I'll second.
Ms. Tippett, any comments or questions? This is very similar to the previous one. So if there's no comments or questions, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. Thank you. Our last item is adjournment. I'll accept a motion for adjournment at 7:57.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Buster. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Anderson.
I'd like to disagree.
There's a lot of disagreement.
Just vote nay then.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mostly not seeing any. Motion carries. Thank you. Have a great evening.
I just saw the questions. Isn't it like up in your badge, like, what did they disagree about?
Yeah.
I want to